What's up, y'all? Back again today with a very special video. So today, I wanted to talk about something that it might be slightly controversial, but it's a topic that I believe we need to have as a nation in order to have a collective understanding and move forward for progression. So this is a subject that I was speaking to a number of colleagues today at work about, and one of my colleagues actually told me that she wanted me to make a video about this. So here goes. Today's video is titled, Black Lives Matter is Fake. I'll say that one more time in case you didn't hear. Black Lives Matter is fake. Now, there's a number of things I need to say, and I only have a short amount of time to do so. So please stick with me. I'm going to try to give you a number of information, and I'm going to try to do so as responsibly and as unbiased as possible. Now, there are a number of circumstances that are unique to me as a black individual that I can give my perspective on, and I feel like it takes a righteous black individual to speak on these topics. I'm not here to play the race card, and I'm not here to ask for sympathy. I am here, however, to bring forth information that is going to be righteous and that is here for our progression, okay? So when I say that Black Lives Matter is fake, there's a number of things I need to say. The first thing I need to say is that when I say fake, I don't mean that the organization does not exist. In fact, to the contrary, the Black Lives Matter organization is very much a reality. When I say that the Black Lives Matter organization is fake, I mean that the intentions that they say that they're here for are not truthful. What I mean is the inception of the Black Lives Matter organization was not created by a righteous black man or woman or a group of black men and women. Therefore, they should not represent or claim to speak for the righteous men and women of America. When you watch the news, I need you to notice how a number of instances in where racial tension prevailed, the news was very irresponsible in their journalism by reporting that these secluded incidents were somehow part of a larger agenda brought forth by the Black Lives Matter organization. Let me give you an example. Just recently in the news, me and my coworkers were speaking about how there were 4 African American young adults who kidnapped and seemingly tortured a disabled young non-black man because of the color of his skin. The first thing I need to say is this act is irresponsible, ignorant, cowardly, disgusting, deplorable, and everything else that's negative. That's the first thing I need to say. But to further my point, I want you to notice how the media has described these members as Black Lives members, Black Lives Matters members. Now, we need to understand that just because a person is black and does something against someone who is not black, that does not mean that they are part of an organization called Black Lives Matter. The first thing I need to say is that I am a black man. I've been so for over 20 years. I have known black people for over 20 years. Not once have I ran into anyone, not one person who claims to either be actively involved or has that knows anybody that is actively involved in the Black Lives Matter organization. Now, there are a number of things that I need to say, so I need you to try to keep up with me. The first thing I want to say is that the Black Lives Matter organization was created and funded by a man named George Soros. George Soros is a Caucasian billionaire politician who has funded millions of dollars to certain groups such as the Black Lives Matter organization. You may be asking yourself, why would a wealthy Caucasian politician invest millions of his hard-earned dollars into a group that seemingly does not connect to him, that does not have any relation to him? And I'm going to tell you why. The reason is to create further dissension, disruption, and disunity within the black community. If you'll notice, as I said, every time you see something happen from a black man or woman attacking someone, they call it Black Lives Matter. I told you earlier about the 4 African American youth who kidnapped the disabled man. There was also another instance in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, in which a black man shot police officers. They also described that as a member of the Black Lives Matter organization. Now, that particular man actually had a YouTube channel. One of the men who killed the police officers had a YouTube channel in which he made a video saying from his own mouth that he is not a part of the Black Lives Matter organization. He made a video saying, I am not a part and have never been a part of the Black Lives Matter organization or any other black organization. However, the media described him as a member of the Black Lives Matter organization. And let me explain to you how this has crucial and detrimental effects. A number of racist people who feel very strongly in their convictions usually are indoctrinated from a young age. Additionally, these same racist people usually have a limited interaction with the people of the races that they do not like. So if you're racist against someone, usually you limit your interactions with the race of people that you despise. So let's just put into perspective a person who has been indoctrinated from a young age to say despise black people because they were told that black people are maybe subhuman, maybe violent, aggressive, whatever things that they were told, they were indoctrinated to believe. They are also, those thoughts are reinforced by certain stereotypes on TV and certain instances in which they may run into a black person. Now, if you have a limited interaction with black people and you only see black people on Love and Hip Hop, you only see them on the football field, or you only see them in a time where they're kidnapping disabled white children or shooting police officers, and then that's coupled with the label of a Black Lives Matter member by the media, it stands within reasons that your convictions, that your bigoted beliefs will be reinstated and reinforced by the things that you're watching. So let's just say a man who does not like black people, he was raised not to like black people, he has a limited interaction with black people, and then he watches the news and the only black people he saw were shooting police officers and kidnapping disabled teens. Now his thought pattern is reinforced. He believes now, aha, this is why my parents told me not to trust black people. This is why I don't like black people. Now, I've made a video about this before, but we need to understand that the label of Black Lives Matter is not a fitting label to put on any black man or woman in America. Because as I said, I don't know any black man or woman that is actively involved in the Black Lives Matter organization. This is where we have to make another point. The ones who created the Black Lives Matter organization, Mr. George Soros, a wealthy Caucasian billionaire, also made that name with the idea that no black person, without giving it a thorough analysis, is going to disagree with the saying Black Lives Matter. As a matter of fact, that saying is actually rhetorical. The fact that you have to say that any lives matter is rhetorical, meaning it needs no response. We know that all lives matter. We know that a white life matters. We know that a black life matters. So to say that to any rational thinking black man or woman is frivolous. Furthermore, when a black man or woman hears Black Lives Matter, that person is not going to disagree with it, because then that would be saying that his or her own life does not matter. We have to make a separation and a distinction between the idea that Black Lives Matter and the organization titled Black Lives Matter. This is a very important distinction to make, because it is then that you can begin to realize or separate the idea of your personal conviction that your life is important from the idea that the group called Black Lives Matters was created by a white man and is currently ran by admittedly homosexual individuals who have decided to remove the idea of the traditional sanction of heterosexual family structure. So if you go on the Black Lives Matter website, they'll tell you that they are currently ran by a number of, their words not mine, openly queer individuals. And there's no mention of the black man, the black heterosexual man, or the black heterosexual family structure. There is no mention of the black family on the website for Black Lives Matter. So this is why we see and begin to see that this group that was, again, created by a white man named George Soros is actually here to create disunity within the family structure of black people. And furthermore, it creates a sort of conflict of interest when on one hand, you're a Caucasian billionaire, but then you claim to stand for the better treatment of African Americans. It's a conflict of interest when on one hand, you are against the heterosexual man, but you claim to be protecting the heterosexual men that are being shot down in the streets. Now, this is where I have to say I don't have anything personally against Caucasian people or homosexual people. The color of your skin and the sexual preference that you decide to adhere to have nothing to do with me. I am only here to say that it is a conflict of interest for either of these two people to assume the position of a leader in our community. Because again, in order to continue our legacy as black people, in order to continue our very humanity, we must procreate with the opposite sex. Now, I'm not going to get too far into that, but I did want to show you and at least lay out the guidelines for why we need to understand, okay, that Black Lives Matter is fake. Because again, the average media and the average citizen will go around believing and reporting that Black Lives Matter is a culmination of ideas from every righteous black man and woman across the nation. I don't know any black men or women who are speaking actively about shooting police. I don't know any black men or women who would agree with kidnapping a disabled white teenage boy for no reason. I don't know anyone of that nature. However, I'm standing in the position where now I must defend my race because of these 4 individuals who were called Black Lives Matter members. Let me explain something to the media, which I'm sure they already understand. In fact, I know you already understand this, mainstream media. The 4 black individuals who kidnapped that disabled young white man do not represent black people across the nation. They do not represent the average black person across the nation. That was a secluded, isolated incident in which 4 sick individuals decided to take it upon themselves to kidnap someone else. That action has never been discussed amongst the average black people. We did not get together and okay that. Okay, so that's what we need to understand, because as a black man who realizes the stereotypes put on our people, I actually take it upon myself to do the opposite of what I'm perceived to be. But I'm constantly in a position where I have to defend my own ethnicity because a secluded incident in which someone went and beat up a white person, that doesn't equate to me. I need you to watch the video I made called Fuck White Lives Matter, Fuck Black Lives Matter. There was an incident in which a group called White Lives Matter met here in Houston in front of a historic NAACP building and gave a speech for hours on end about white supremacy. And the very next day I gave a speech there, and I would love you to watch that video. I went into detail about why we need to separate from this Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter innuendo, this rhetoric. Because again, the idea that a Black Life Matters or a white life matters is a rhetorical statement. It's something that it goes without saying. We understand this already. Furthermore, there is no real organization that's meeting up and where black people are going to Black Lives Matter events. Again, we agree with the idea that our life matters as a black person. So yes, Black Lives Matter. Yes, birds' lives matter. Plant life matters. However, the organization titled Black Lives Matter was created and invested in by a wealthy billionaire named George Soros. And it is currently ran by all homosexual men and women who have denounced and refused to accept the idea and further the agenda of the heterosexual family structure. Again, this is why we cannot stand for Black Lives Matter. I hope you understand why I'm making this point. It's important that we have these discussions because at work, I opened their eyes to this. Now, this isn't my information. These are things that I made up on my own. I want you to research. I want you to come to your own conclusions. However, when I brought my perspective, they were able to understand how the media and other forms of entertainment are being used to manipulate our senses, manipulate our emotions in order to create dissension among the races. Because again, I've had beautiful conversations with people of all walks of life, but that would never be able to happen if the set of indoctrination that I had received was so embedded in me that I didn't open my eyes and my ears and my mouth to converse with someone that may differ from me physically or spiritually. I say that to say we need to have more discussions and more dialogue in order to come to better conclusions. Thank you very much, and I need you to really think about how the media is being used to manipulate us. Again, Black Lives Matter does not represent the ideals or the actions or the thought pattern of the average black man or woman. Therefore, when someone does something just because they're black, please stop labeling it as a Black Lives Matter protester or a member of the Black Lives Matter organization, because likely they're not. And if they are, likely they were told to do that very thing, to create dissension. So yes, I'm coming for the Black Lives Matter organization. We're destroying the Black Lives Matter organization. I'm not destroying the idea that Black Lives Matter because that's been a fact for thousands of years. But the idea, the organization labeled Black Lives Matter is not here for us. Again, I don't want to take too much of your time, and I would love to go in more, but my time is limited. I'll talk to you next time, and until next time, I need you to do one thing. Please vibrate higher.